Welcome back. Girl Be Heard is an organization that strives to encourage open discussions among young people on social justice issues affecting their communities, such as racism and gender inequality. They provide educational programs in underserved parts of New York City where participants engage in theatrical activities that empower girls, young women, and gender diverse youth. Before we meet our guests, let's take a look at this clip that shows you just how inspiring this organization can be to these young women.
Around the world, keep your hope, speak your truth. We're girls empowered, girl be heard. We create movements with our words. We stand for justice, fight for rights. Just watch us as we drop the mic. Girl be you, girl be me, girl be she, girl be we. Around the world, with our words, watch our magic, girl be heard.
Joining me to discuss the organization is company member Nicole Mercedes and the director of programs, Nella Mupier. I want to thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having us. We're glad to be here.
Now, can we just talk about how Girl Be Heard actually began?
So Girl Be Heard is a New York-based organization with both national and global roots. We were birthed almost 11 years ago here in New York City. And just as you stated earlier, our mission has been and continues to be collaborating with girls, young women, and gender-expansive youth to use storytelling, art, performance, and theater to amplify social justice issues. And I love the work that we do. And I often say when I speak to others about Girl Be Heard that this is precisely the type of organization that I wish that I had when I was Nicole's age. I mean, in a city like New York, where opportunities for young people in the areas of youth development, education, and enrichment is so rich, Girl Be Heard is unique in the sense that we uphold developing activist voice, developing leadership skills, and developing artistic skills as integral parts of our programming. So it's really exciting to be here to share with you and the Bronx community and Open more about what we do at Girl Be Heard.
Now, I understand that there are several branches throughout New York City. Can you just tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, so our menu of programs is very robust. And as we lean into the participant community, we continue to expand those programs yearly. We have flagship programs in New York City that currently consist of our school-based programs, which you can participate in if you happen to be at a school where we're funded. We have our weekend workshop program, which is a borough-based program. We have one in the Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, and Queens. It's a stipend-based program for young people who are interested in developing and deepening their skills in arts and social justice. We have the Artistic Company, of which Nicole is a member, and they represent the most public-facing participants of the Girl Be Heard community. It's a pre-professional paid opportunity for young artists. So artists and activists looking to combine those skills to amplify social justice issues. Those run from October through June, so aligned with the academic school year. In addition to that, however, we have our special projects, which really are an expansion of the interpretation of our mission. Included in that is our Girls Make Media program, which is wonderful for young folks who are interested in Girls Make Movies, the podcasting program.
Mm-hmm.
We have opportunities for young people in the global sense through our B workshops.
Right. We
have finally, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which is the summer experience.
So I want to talk about the fact that there's a focus on youth. Can you just tell me, as someone who's part of the youth, why that's so important and what that means to you?
Yeah, well, the youth are our future and the hope of our future. And it's the youth that are transforming our society and reality and evolving our society consciously or not. So it's up to us to be responsible for the future that we want to see and the change we want to make.
And I also want to ask you about just your role that you have, in Girl Be Heard and like some of the stuff that you do.
Yeah, so as a company member, we all just create art to really speak up on the social justice issues that we really care about. And we work together as a collective, and it really just become a leader and a change maker together as a team.
And then you wanted to
What Nicole said is so true. Being a girl is risky business. And I like how we stated it in our impact report not too long ago. Nearly 800,000 girls in New York City, 75% of which are youth of color, many of whom live underneath the poverty level, are confronted in their schools and in communities with issues such as sexual violence, teen pregnancy, gender-based violence. We're talking about bullying and things of that nature. And in addition to that, they're navigating complex issues of intersectionality, including race and class and gender inequality. So there's a lot going on with girls in our community. And so there's a need for programming like Girl Be Heard. To Nicole's point, however, we need their voices as well, because we also know these young folks to be creative. We know them to be very passionate about social justice issues. So our framework allows within the workshop scope for them to develop their activist voice, for them to be able to develop fluency on social justice issues in an artistic way, offering multiple artistic pathways to have a conversation with their community about what's going on.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think that Girl Be Heard has equally helped me to develop my artistic, activist, and even personal development skills to really speak on these issues and be a leader on the stage and off the stage as well. And what really is amazing about it as well is that we are also critical thinkers and we are energized citizens. So it's very educational, and it's beautiful to know that you're part of a larger mission to help girls and young women and people that look like us to be in more positions of power and to make their mark on the world, which we have yet to see.
Now, can you talk, I heard the term artivist, which I think is it's a really cool term. I like it. Can you just talk about some of the ways that you, or maybe your peers, have used art, poetry, and theater as a form of expression and social commentary?
Yeah, well, we really create, again, we're all about storytelling that's rooted, whether it's singing, dancing, spoken word poetry, all of it. We really just create productions and devise pieces that speak to us, and we work with our teaching artists and they really help us and along the way, along each step of the path to just help us gain the confidence to speak about issues that are, maybe difficult to share and to spark the conversations that we need to be having. And the great thing about it being art is that, there's so many ways to represent it and for audiences to connect to it and so much humanity and so much connection. You can visually represent something on stage if you can't explain it in words. And so, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I want to know a little bit about the Girls Outside summer experience. I can imagine it's summertime, and when school's out, so many things could happen. So you can just talk about that experience and why it's offered to these girls.
Yeah, so I am thrilled to share the Girls Outside summer experience and refer to it as a summer experience because it really is just that. I mean, we all know that a lot of times New York City youth like to remain in their separate corners. So if you're from the Bronx, you stay in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and so on and so forth. The summer experience is an opportunity for young people to explore all of New York City and really tap into the cultural and artistic vibrancy that this city holds. Specifically, however, lean into the ways people of color, women, gender expansive folks have contributed to those spaces that in a lot of ways today we don't see. So in offering the summer experience as a programming option for young people in the city, we're allowing them to understand how we built this city and then also develop that sense of belonging to these different spaces. I mean, it is a wonderful opportunity for young folks to have an interest in developing community, getting their whistle wet about Girl Be Heard, understanding how much we really center this aspect of community building. It is a completely free program. Lunches are paid. Admission into all the excursions are paid. You get a weekly Metro card. It's an excellent opportunity. And so I believe at the time this show airs will be our first day, but it will not be too late. So if you happen to come across it and you want to participate, we have our information available for those who are interested in hearing more about it or applying.
I love hearing about this. Like you mentioned, I wish this was something that I had when I was in high school, because I think it's just an amazing opportunity. I want to know your experience though. How, obviously it's for youth to grow and to learn, but how have you learned and grown, just being a part of this organization?
I've learned and grown in a number of different ways. I mean, I'm in a leadership role, so even still, I'm developing my capacity for leadership, and that's one of the things that we do at Girl Be Heard. Beyond that, and I think above that, is just how inspired I am by artists like Nicole, who, despite the other competing priorities and obligations that they have as young people navigating this city as a young person, still come to a space like Girl Be Heard and say, I want to be able to engage my community in conversations about racial justice, gender equity, environmental justice, injustice rather, educational justice, global solidarity, because we have to move the needle more towards an environment, a society we want to see where girls are safe, where people of gender diverse backgrounds are safe, where people of color are safe. And so I'm inspired by the perspective that they bring. I'm inspired by the heart that they bring. I'm inspired by how poised and eloquent they are. I'm inspired by how fearless they are. So that's really what has been driving me in my capacity as director of programs for Girl Be Heard.
And I also like to hear that like these conversations are being had now, because I think that like when I was in high school, we did not have these conversations, or it was almost like controversial to even say things that we now know as the truth. So I just think that it's so interesting to see that we're in a time where we could have younger people have really tough discussions and then use art to talk about it. Can you just talk about maybe, you know, what do you hope to see as somebody who's a part of the youth? What do you hope to see for the future of this program and for girls after you?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, being a part of this program has really just helped me to speak up on these issues, be a leader, and just, stand up for what I believe in. So I hope that, you know, we can continue that mission, and just, especially when we're sharing it around so many different spaces and areas. And so I just really hope that every girl that is a part of this and maybe wants to, you know, really inspire the world and really stand up for these issues, you know, they can do that. And again, like, we have yet to make our mark. So,
well, I want to thank you both so much for joining us and having this wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
If you or someone you know would like to get involved and join Girl Be Heard, please go to their website at www.girlbeheard.org. And don't forget to follow them on social media at Girl Be Heard. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recable cast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Files Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Jaime on Wednesday and with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.